G'day and welcome back to another game of Neptune's Pride with me, Belson. So here we have Sigma Rotanev, which is a 64 player game, and it's the first one to be played in May, or at least to start in May. So here I've joined as Belson, so I'm playing under my normal default alias, and I'm playing as Cyan Hexagon. Having a look at my start position, we see we've got quite a few nice starts here. So this star here, only 10 ticks out, and it's got very nice natural resources of 33. We've also got 41 natural resources here, 37 there, 26 there. So this looks like it will be a really nice start for me, really cheap to build infrastructure. So with these ships, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my carriers out to take these initial positions. So one carrier here at this star, drop 5 ships there, drop another 5 there. And that will mean that I've got both of those stars protected against any initial expansion by other people. I'm also going to do the same for this star. Going to send it to here, drop a 5, then here. And for this star, I'll just send it all straight there. I am running a risk in not sending any ships to this star, because that means if these 10 ships take too long to get there, I might not be able to capture that star for myself, and it's a nice star, so I want it, but I'm not going to be too greedy to start off with. Now we may see a number of stars in my scanning range that I actually haven't gone to. So we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3 stars here. All very easy for me to get to, but I haven't sent a carrier to get them. And similarly here, we've got these 2 stars here that are quite easy for me to get, but I've left them alone. And why is that? Well, that's because they're very low resource stars, only 5 natural resources or thereabouts. So a star with 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 natural resources. So those stars will be very useless early on in the game. And unless I've got a specific reason to capture these, say for stopping any opponents from expanding into my territory, I don't see any need to capture those. But with my carriers built, let's look at my initial infrastructure. So I've decided I'll go for weapons first, then experimentation second. And what I can do is I can go for a 2 science start, because that's quite effective and allows me to get the research done. It doesn't happen immediately, but it doesn't take too long to happen. And I'll also purchase 2 industry, 1 here and 1 there. That's just so that I can start building some ships on each side of the map, and I don't have to rely on my home star to produce everything for the first few cycles. Okay, so the game has started now, no ticks have passed, and having a look at this map, we can see I'm right in the middle, and there doesn't seem to be very many stars around me. It seems the stars are very spread out and very easy to defend with a number of choke points. So now that I see this map, I can re-examine where I'm going. So these ships here, they can't reach there because that requires level 2 hyperspace range, and we all start with level 1 range, which means these ships here, I only need to send the 1 carrier this way, and I don't need to take any ships with them. Over here, we can see that pink hexagon, has no way to reach this spot here. It's well out of their reach, and they can't reach northwards either. So I don't need to worry about sending 10 ships. I can just send the one carrier down that way. And having a look at this, I can't go any further with my carrier, so that's as far as it needs to go. Over in this direction, this is a jump of 2, hyperspace range level 2, so I don't need to worry about anyone coming through there during the start. Finally, we've got northward and westward expansion, so we can see that I can make the first jump but not the second, because that requires hyperspace range level 2. And if I am to go north, I can go up to here, requiring only level 1 jumps, but at that time I'll run into blue cross. So how far can I go? I can go up to here in 21 hours, and if we have a look at blue cross, they can get down there into 21 hours. So this is a case of who gets to that border star first. And for that, I'll have to measure the distances in the last tick. So if we come from my direction, that is a jump of 3.206 light years, which means it will take me 9 ticks to travel 3 light years, and in the 10th tick, I will travel 0.206 light years. Now if we have a look at the other way, we see this is a jump of 3.487 light years, which means in the first 10 ticks, they will travel 3.333 light years, and in the last tick, they will travel 0.154 light years. So that means in the last tick, they will travel less distance than I will, which means they will get there first, and then if I send a fleet there, it will die to theirs. So instead, what I'm just going to do is wait here at this Archana and decide whether I want to go in before that. Now, one thing I can do is that their jump will take 1 more hour than my jump. So we can see there 11 hours to jump that way, and it's 10 hours to jump this way. Which means if blue cross here, Ungoliant, captures this star on the same tick, or any tick after I captured this star, then it's safe for me to come in this way. Otherwise, it's not safe and I shouldn't do so. It will just be a slaughter on my end. So I can also change how I distribute these carriers. This carrier here, after going that way, can jump all the way down to the far end. I don't want to change much of what I've got here, but I can wind my way around these stars, going to all of them, claiming all of them. But in both cases, I've left all 9 ships back at the home star, back at the star, because there's no enemies I'll be wanting to face that way. Instead, I'll be wanting to send all my fleets westwards so that I can block Ungoliant from coming in, because they're going to be my first threat. Who might be my second threat? Well, here, pink circle, the fleet, looks to be my most likely ally, at least at the start. They look to be plenty experienced enough, and if we have a look at this jump, we can see that it requires hyperspace range level 2, which means we can't attack each other at the start. That makes us perfect allies in scanning range, but not in jump range, and we don't need to worry about being attacked by the other person. So I think I'll reach out to them and offer to do some tech trading with them. Who else do we have? We have Leon V, who looks to be a newish player but has played some games, so they aren't totally new to the game. We've got La Brouette Japonaise here, who seems to be quite experienced, so I'll have to look out for them. Might be another potential ally, but at the moment, scanning is just out of range and won't be able to do that with them. Ungoliant here is also quite experienced. Not very many victories, but heaps of rank and renown, so I will have to watch out for them. Looking at neighbours further out, we've looked at Leon V. We've also got Afris, who's got no victories, 35 rank, 27 renown, So that means they've played a few games but haven't won any yet. They'll probably be a good ally if I choose to go with them, but won't make it into the late game, won't be very useful in the late game. We've also got Desert Fox 1891, completely new player, wouldn't be surprised if they go AFK at the start. Up above, Ungoliant, we've got Clan Mac here, 11 victories, 394 rank, 235 renown, and they've actually got 3 Conqueror badges, so they've won the 64 player games 3 times, and they're definitely an empire to watch out for, and probably even one to ally with, although they have built economy already, so I'm not sure why they did that. We've also got Tinfoil here. So 14 victories, 312 rank, 331 renown. Definitely a very experienced and good player, and quite possibly a very strong ally. So that looks like we don't have very many easy targets to start off with. I'm thinking Ungoliant might be our first target. We're researching weapons first, so we'll have to hold out against them for a bit, but then we can focus 100% of our ships against them and possibly get Tinfoil and Clan Mac on our side against them. That's our initial gameplay. Attack Ungoliant and ally with the fleet, and we'll see how things go from there. One day into this game, and as you can see, based on the leaderboard and based on the star positioning, I haven't done too poorly for this start. I'm only second with 14 stars, one behind the leader who's currently got 15 stars, and that player is up in the top right corner of the galaxy, so I've got plenty of space between me and them. I've also gotten myself an alliance, so me, and then the fleet here. We've also got Afris there, and La Brouette Japanese, where we've all had a message thread and we've all agreed to an alliance to tech trading and working together into the future. So that gives us a nice strong start, together and not apart from each other. In addition to that, La Brouette Japanese, they've gone for weapons straight up, and they said that they got a experimentation bonus in weapons, which means they might be able to send weapons through to me, and I might not have to fully research it before. I might not have to fully research it. In addition to that alliance, I've had Ungoliant here reach out to me and offer for peace. So I was straight with them. I said I've got nowhere else to expand except up through you. So if you want peace, then you'll have to give me a passage beside you or to the side of you so I can move northwards and expand that way. And they seem to be accommodating of that, seem to be okay with that, and it may end up that I'll have peace with Ungoliant and we'll be working together against Tinfoil and Clan Mac. So we'll see how that goes, possibly end up doing that, or we may not. There's not much to report on. Alliances are still being formed, and there's no way I can tell who's allied with anyone else because there's no technology that could have been traded as yet. So early days, and the game's just starting out, but I'm excited to see how this game develops. We're now on tick number 52, so a little over 2 days into the game, and as you can see, I am no longer the top of the leaderboard, nowhere near the top of the leaderboard. The leaders, we can see, are QWERTY 1000 and Ave, and both of these empires are quite close to where I am, which is a little threatening to me. QWERTY 1000 is 3 empires north of me. We've got Ungoliant here. Then next to Ungoliant we have Clan Mac. And finally we've got QWERTY 1000. The other empire at the top of the leaderboard is Ave, and they're also 3 empires away from me. So we've got La Brouette, we've also got Desert Fox, and finally we've got Ave. So both first and second place are 3 empires away, which is close enough that they will be a threat medium turn, but not a threat immediately, so I'll have to keep an eye on them. As to alliances, apparently the four-way Central Alliance is well known. So I had, it was Scarlet contact me. Scarlet is this empire down in the southern side of the map, and you can read what they said to me there, but apparently they know of the four-way alliance. My guess is that they contacted someone else in the alliance and asked them about the situation and got told that it was a four-way, which is a little disappointing that information got leaked so easily and so quickly, but at least it means that someone else is on board with the alliance. I also got a message from the Jewish Star Empire, and they told me that they think, or they've been told, well, it appears that Ungoliant, Tinfoil and QWERTY 1000 are sharing text to some degree. I disagree with that. Not completely, but I do disagree somewhat. So if we have a look at the text, we can see QWERTY 1000 has weapons and banking. If we look at Tinfoil, we can see experimentation, weapons and banking. And if we have a look at Ungoliant, we see experimentation and banking. So we clearly saw an experimentation go along with banking. And here we've also got a weapons. So my guess is Ungoliant is by themselves, and they researched experimentation and got a bonus in banking. Meanwhile, Tinfoil also researched experimentation and also got a bonus in banking. However, they traded with QWERTY 1000 for weapons for banking. So that's my opinion of the situation, and that's based on the information that Ungoliant gave me, that he's considering heading north and might be willing to work with me. But on that track, I'm thinking that we might end up going a different direction. At this stage, I've told my alliance, and the fleet in particular, that I can work with the fleet to move down this way and attack Pink Cross Leon V. Now there's a couple of reasons why. First reason is 2 versus 1 is always more effective than 1 versus 1. And the second reason is I've got Ungoliant's flank protected, and it's quite likely that Ungoliant will be willing to work with me. I'm currently banking on their statement that they're willing to work with me. So I'm willing to take the risk and send most, if not all, of my fleet in this way and start taking out that way against Leon V and working with the fleet here to go in there. Currently, Leon V has experimentation and banking. We can see neighbor here has experimentation, and Aviorat has experimentation and weapons. So my guess is most, or possibly all of these 3 empires went for experimentation as their first tech, and Solara just happened to get a bonus in experimentation, and so didn't get a second technology. Experimentation or scanning, that is, and so didn't get a second technology with their bonus. We can also see up here Orange Bob has experimentation and weapons, so possibly one of these 2 went for one and one went for the other. Or maybe they just both got lucky and got the same thing. I think it's too early to tell right now, and we'll have to look at how things develop with those alliances future on. as the game goes on. But for now, I think I'll leave it here, and I'll give another update tomorrow. We're now at tick number 76, just in the start of the 4th day of this game. Having a look at how everything's going, we can see that I've launched an attack this way towards Leon V. So I got hyperspace range, but not from my allies here, Afris, Labrouette Japanese and the fleet. Instead, I got it from Ungoliant. So I've been in contact with Ungoliant as much or possibly even more than I have the other allies down here. And they've been very willing to work with me. And I'm quite happy with that. That means I don't have to worry about fighting up there. And that also means I can go 2 versus 1 on Leon V. So the fleet is sending his 161 ships to that star, and then I guess down here to attack that way. I could send them hyperspace range, and I probably will, so they can jump straight from here over to there, and that would allow them to get into the fight sooner. That would also mean that we can have a stronger attack and deal more damage and possibly go for the kill a lot quicker. So we've been doing that. I've completed experimentation, so I got a boost in experimentation from experimentation, which means I was able to complete it in the 3rd cycle. I completed weapons in the 2nd cycle, experimentation in the 3rd cycle, and I'll complete manufacturing next cycle, which is the 4th cycle. So with all that done, that's very helpful. That means I'll have almost a full set of technologies. I'm just missing terraforming now, and the fleet said that they were going to do terraforming after manufacturing, so we'll be able to get a full set of technologies up to level 2. Now on the other hand, we saw yesterday that I was warned by the Jewish Star Empire that Ungoliant, Tinfoil and QWERTY 1000 were trading, and I was like, no, it doesn't seem like that way. Well, today I checked and it's definitely the case. So if we have a look at all 3 empires now, they've got exactly the same technology, so they're definitely trading amongst themselves now and definitely allied. So that's definitely a concern that I have, especially since QWERTY 1000, purple triangle up here, he's got 30 stars, which is significantly more than I have. He's in the lead by 5 stars, which at this point is a 16% lead. Very scary, and I really don't want that lead to get too much further. But Ungoliant seems pretty cooperative, even gave me hyperspace range without me asking for it. We had discussed it before, but so that I could attack this way rather than having to go up this side and possibly find an enemy this way. So he may be playing a double alliance, trying to make me think that he's allied with me, while he's really not and is going to kill me. But I'm willing to take the chance, and at this stage I have no other option than to take the chance, because if I fight him, it won't be long before I have Tinfoil and QWERTY 1000 bearing down on me, and there's no way I'll survive even with these 3 players down here. Speaking of, so we knew that Afris researched hyperspace range early on, and I asked them to send it to the fleet as soon as they got it, so that the fleet could send it on to me and I could start to attack this way. Well, Afris never did, and he even said that he did, but never did. And I know that's the case because we can see here that the fleet still doesn't have hyperspace range level 2. Now I don't know if I just didn't understand what Afris was saying, or if Aphris didn't understand what I was saying, or if Aphris just forgot or what. But I don't know. We can see here that I asked Aphris to send range as soon as they get it. Aphris said, sure thing, 11 ticks away. So that was about a day and a half ago. So Aphris has had it for 24 hours. And then I've asked Aphris to send range to the fleet. And Aphris said, I just sent over what I had. And we can see that Aphris hadn't yet sent it over, so I don't know what's going on with Aphris there. We'll have to wait until later game to see, but I'm thinking they might be the first one in the alliance to go, and the fleet would be the last one in the alliance to go, and possibly keep them on my side for quite a while. If I end up joining a different alliance, the fleet is the one I think I'd want to bring with me. But that's the update of where I am. I'm about to launch an attack this way, and my alliance doesn't seem to be the best at working together, but I am doing a 2 vs 1 attack, and there's a strong alliance to my north that is currently at peace with me and willing to trade with me, so that's good. And I will give you another update tomorrow. We're now at tick number 98, and as you can see, I continue to not grow as I'm on 17 stars, but there's more to the picture than that, and what I'll do now is I'll zoom in and show you what's happening. So over on this border here, we can see that I'm about to take this star that belongs to Leon V. So I had 2 fleets here, one of about 50 ships, the other of 87 ships, as you can see. I've sent them both in, and the first fleet got destroyed, and the second fleet will make landing. That might not seem like much, but having that landing there will mean that I can now work on establishing a foothold in Leon V's territory and starting to slowly push through. My first target will be this star here, especially since it's got 2 economy, 2 industry and 1 science. It'll be a nice juicy star to take, especially early on in the conquest. We've also got the fleet here, who's been moving in against Leon V. I haven't seen any combat yet, and we can come here to total ships. So we can see that there was the combat between me and Leon V, and if we go into the fleet as well, they haven't had combat yet, but I'm not worried. I saw them move 110 ships from their home star this way, and they've got range from me. They possibly had to move it down this way first because they didn't have range at the time, and then they've attacked. So it might still be a while before we see the fleet actually do some damage against Leon V, but it's happening. You may also notice that Leon V has a lot less territory. That's because Avoriat, who's been working with Leon V, has been moving in on their stars and taking over their stars. So that is, that means that we're going to have to fight one strong empire, Avoriat, rather than 2 smaller empires. But even though Avoriat is taking over Leon V's stars, we see that they still have less stars than I do, so I'm not too worried, and they're incredibly behind on technology, so I think we're all good, we're all fine, don't need to worry about that too much. You may also wonder, there are 2 stars here, both of which are easily in hyperspace range, so why aren't I taking it? Well, the story gets a little complicated here, so I'll go through it quickly. We saw a couple of days ago that we were warned about the alliance between QWERTY, Tinfoil and Ungoliant, but at that stage it didn't particularly look like an alliance to me. Then yesterday we saw that it was clearly an alliance, and today I got a message saying that they are working together and they're considering having me in their alliance, but one of the players is hesitant. I do not know who's hesitant, but I'm incredibly confident that Ungoliant is pushing to have me in their alliance. And why is that? Well, you can see that I've got the exact same technology as Ungoliant, who has the exact same technology as Tinfoil and QWERTY. The fact is, Ungoliant's been working with me technology trading and has been very amiable and seems to be willing to do what it takes to work with me, even if that might put him at odds with the rest of the alliance. Now, I might not be entirely interpreting that correctly, but I'm incredibly confident that Ungoliant is on my side, whether or not the rest of his alliance is. And as such, I'm waiting until Ungoliant gets hyperspace range 3, so he can come down here and help me fight west. And that way we'll have 3 empires fighting west. That will give Ungoliant a route out of this cluster of empires without having to go through me, and I think that's a win-win situation. So that's why I'm leaving these 2 stars open. We can also see that my other 2 formal allies, Aphris and Labrouette, they have been making some good progress into Ave. Ave is still near the top of the leaderboard at 25 stars, but they're nowhere near the leaders anymore, and they could very soon be overtaken by other empires. So we see that these 2 empires, Aphris and Labrouette, have been moving in against Ave and been having some success and been taking the territory. So our central alliance has quite some good potential to grow, and I'm confident that it can expand and become even stronger as time goes on. We are now 121 ticks into this game, and that brings us just to the start of the 6th day. So having a look around, we can see that we've got some pretty big empires now. Scarlet is on 35 stars, QWERTY 1000 is on 34, Ave is on 27, and then the star counts just keep decreasing from there. But we've now got a number of clearly defined alliances along with all these star counts. So I'll start off with the alliances that directly affect me. So we can see over here that Avoriat has been taking over Leon V's stars quite quickly. In fact, Leon V abandoned the home star here so that Avoriat could take it. So that has meant that I haven't had a chance to take it. And we're having to fight to keep Leon V from coming into the fleet stars, because the fleet only has 100 ships. I don't know how that's possible at this stage. Have they just not been building industry or something? Actually, we can check that. Total stars, we want total industry. Yeah, they just haven't been building industry. So, yeah, that's been a problem for us, and I've mentioned to the fleet, maybe I should come in from behind, maybe this way, and start taking the stars just to stop Leon V from walking through all of the fleet stars and making it impossible for me to defend. Because we do have Avoriat here, who has more ships than I do, and we've got Leon V, who's got double the number of ships that the fleet has. So this is a really difficult predicament for us to be in, and the only way out I can see is if the fleet allows me to come through and take over their stars. So I hope that's possible. In other news, I am now officially a member of this alliance here. So Ungoliant contacted me and said, it doesn't matter what you say, I'm still going to have a non-aggression pact with you for the rest of the game and work with you, but would you want to join the alliance? And I said, yes, I would. And so this alliance up in this area is now QWERTY 1000, Tinfoil, Ungoliant, and me. And we're now all together, and I'm feeling a lot safer being part of that alliance than I am being part of this alliance down here with me in it. And we've also got Galaxy, who may or may not be in the alliance. I'm unsure. We've had two message threads sent, and by different people. QWERTY 1000 included Galaxy into the message thread for technology specifically, but Ungoliant didn't. So I'm unsure what's happening there. We're going to have to see how that plays out, if Galaxy has just got a non-aggression pact, or if they've got a full alliance membership, or what. But in place of that, because we've got these alliances, I figured it might be helpful to know what alliances everyone else is part of. So I've set up a message thread for just myself to look at, and I've collated all the alliances that I'm able to identify. So we've got the North Center, the Center North, rather, alliance. So that's me, Ungoliant, Tinfoil, QWERTY 1000, and possibly Galaxy, as I just mentioned. Then we've got the Central Alliance, Belson, well, me, the Fleet, Afris, and La Brouette. And I don't know, I don't think that alliance is going to stay forever. I wouldn't be surprised if the Fleet doesn't check very often, and they're definitely not going to survive this attack against Leon V, even if they are a competent player. And I don't know how well Afris and La Brouette are going. They haven't really made any progress against Ave for the last little while, and so I don't think it'll be long before they start to be knocked out either. So I'm really glad I've been brought into that Northern Alliance there. We also have, here we go. We also have the Northwest Alliance. So I think this alliance here, the Northwest Alliance, is the biggest threat we have to the Central Alliance that we've got going on here, the Northern Central Alliance. So we've got Jorb, who's Purple Pill. We've got let's actually go to the Empire. We've got Jorb, who is Purple Pill. So got a few ships there. We've got Carmonian Republic, Graymason, Soulfire, and Belter Loader. So they're all part of an alliance together. They're probably our biggest threat going on into endgame, and there may be constant friction between these borders here, or there may end up being peace and we all go our separate ways. So that'll be interesting to see and work out. If there is peace on that border, then Ungoliant and I will end up getting some big fights, probably along here-ish, against that Northwestern Alliance. So we'll see how it goes. I hope there's not peace there, so that Ungoliant and I can have some safer expansion and not have to worry too much about them. What other alliances do we have? We've also got a small possible alliance here, so Orange Triangle and Orange Circle may or may not be an alliance. Having a look here, we can see they've each got a number of ships and their texts are fairly similar, but I'm not confident enough to say that they're in an alliance. We've also got these two empires, Leon V and Avoriat. We definitely know about that alliance, but that will very soon become just the one player, so shouldn't be too difficult to take down, especially once we've got Ungoliant in range and helping out. Moving down slightly this way, we've got Spymort and Meep, so Purple Star and Green Diamond. I think they're in an alliance. I'm unsure about that though, because we can see their texts are fairly similar, but not exactly the same, and experimentation and banking, Spymort is one level ahead in both of them. Who else do we have? We've got the Southwestern Alliance, which also has great potential of expansion. So we've got Blue Bee, we've also got Rowan Rager, and we've also got Dr. Philbill. So I think those three are in an alliance, and they've got potential to also become a fairly strong alliance, fairly strong competitors, and we may have to end up fighting them at some stage. We've also got the purples in the center, so sorry, not purple, pink. Pink Triangle and Pink Diamond, Kara Starbuck and Scarlet, so these two. They seem to be in an alliance, and it would be quite good for them if they stayed in it, because they've got a nice strong position there, well protected, not having to worry about anything. Xenoreth seems to be at least at peace with them right now, probably going to be taken over soon though, if not already. We've also got a Southwest Alliance, so Red Pill and Red Triangle, these two down here. They seem to be in an alliance. I didn't include any of these others in an alliance. There's a lot of AIs down in this area, as you can see, and so that will mean they have good expansion and might be a problem later on, but they'll be a long way off if they do end up being a problem. Then we've got the Ripper and Darmody, who are also in an alliance, and they'll probably end up expanding through the AIs and fighting down to the southwest, and may also end up linking up with Ave, because yeah, that's a strong empire and it would be wise for them to get them on Ave on their side. We've also got Ave and Slick Muffin, so these two are allied, and then yeah, these two. Then we've only got the one alliance left that we haven't yet looked at. Actually, two alliances left. We've got the Harkonnen and the Jewish Star Empire. Strangely enough, their player names or empire names both start with the, and they're very clearly allied if we have a look at the technologies. Probably against this alliance down here, but also possibly to expand northwards. And finally, we've got an alliance in Launcelaine and King Arthur. And from my looking at all the empires, those are the alliances I was able to make out. Possibly others, possibly got some wrong, but I think those are the empires that we can have a look at, keep track of, and be worried about as the game goes on. So once again, these are the complete list of alliances, or at least as I can see. We're now at tick 146, 6 days into the game, so almost done the first week where early game, where making alliances is finished and starting to combine alliances and have alliance on alliance combat will start. So we've got a quick overview of the map here. QWERTY 1000 is still in the lead, but Scarlet, Pink Diamond on the southern side of the map, almost directly corresponding position, is tied first place. Then we've got Ive, Pink Star in the east of the map, third, Graymason fourth, and then there's a jump between fourth and fifth place. So that's what the leaderboard looks like. Having a look at the players within our alliance, surprisingly enough, I've got the second most stars, and I'm actually second in terms of everything except for science, and ships. But if we have a look at the star counts, so Ungoliant has 3 stars less than me, Tinfoil has 5 stars less than me, and up here, Galaxu has 2 stars less than me. And in all of these cases, well, Tinfoil has more economy, same amount of industry, but I'm actually not that far behind the rest of the empires. I guess I managed to expand well, but most of my expansion has been, well, some of my expansion has been in opposing stars. Ungoliant hasn't had any enemies to expand into, and neither has tinfoil, apart from the one empire starting in the center here, but I don't remember who they were. So that's the case here. Ungoliant has now got hyperspace range 3, which means they can now come down this way and start fighting along that edge. It'll still be a while before they get there, and that will mean that Avoriat will still be able to put a lot of pressure onto me and deal a lot of damage, but I'll slowly be able to push Avoriat back with Ungoliant's fleets coming into the battle and helping out. One big problem I have in this battle against Avoriat is my empire is really spread out while Avoriat's empire is really close-knit and dense. So if we have a look, Avoriat's furthest star is this one here, and having a look at this, Avoriat can get to the front line in just under 2 days. Whereas if we have a look at my stars, my furthest star is this one, and how quickly can I get to the front line? It takes me 3 days and 5 hours, so about 30 hours longer. So that gives Avoriat a nice advantage, well, not a nice advantage for me, but a significant advantage over me when it comes to the battles on the front line. So it's super important that I keep my ships moving, and if possible get warp gates along the route. The only problem being that I've got a couple of 1 natural resource stars along this route, 4, so warp gates are prohibitively expensive for me at the moment, and so my ships will have to just continue to crawl along and get there eventually. We can also see that the fleet is managing to build up ships. Very soon we'll reach the situation where the fleet and me combined are stronger than Avoriat and Leon V combined, because I'm currently very close to the strength of Avoriat, but they're slightly stronger than me, and Leon V has more ships than the fleet, but less stars and less infrastructure and less stuff overall. The other members in my central alliance, we can see that Aphris and Labrouette, they've continued to not make any progress against Jave, and in fact I wouldn't be surprised if they're possibly allying or have gone for peace. But we can also see that Aphris has got manufacturing level 4 and is lagging behind in everything else. I predicted at the start of the game that Aphris would not be a very good ally, would end up going AFK quite quickly, and I've just heard from the fleet that there's some other empires that also suspect that Aphris will go AFK, which means that the fleet and Labrouette will have to move in quite quickly to get into Aphris before Pink Triangle, Kara Starbuck, Thrace can. However, it's not all bad. Pink Triangle has been talking with the fleet and mentioned a desire to at least have peace with our Central Alliance and possibly even work together with us. But currently they are focusing mainly this way to the west, along with Pink Diamond. And in fact, Scarlet, Pink Diamond, they sent us a message at the start of the game just trying to feel out whether we'd be friendly or not, just in case we ever came into contact, so they could be on a good footing with us. And that's pretty good. That's a pretty good idea in general, to try to make friends with empires that you think you'll come into contact with, but aren't necessarily close to you. Not much else is happening. We've got 3 major alliances this game, plus a number of other alliances. So, as mentioned, we've got the Northwest Alliance of Jorb Gorb, Graymason, Soulfire, Beltalowda, and possibly a couple other empires in that area. We've got the Central North Alliance, which is Quoty 1000, Tinfoil, Ungoliant, me, and we've also got, let's select this star actually, Galaxu as a tag along in the alliance, but not quite there. Well, not quite safe enough to be a full member because they're currently being taken over by King Arthur. And then finally, we've got the Eastern Alliance. So the Jewish Star Empire and Harkonnen, along with Ave, are all in an alliance. So they're also an empire to look out for. And at this stage, it looks like our Central Alliance will be split in two, fighting the Northwest Alliance and the Eastern Alliance, while other alliances, such as this Southern Pink Alliance, will be able to expand freely with no one stopping them. And we've also got other alliances scattered around the map that are expanding. We're now at tick 171, which is the third tick in the 8th day of this game. So, as you can see, Graymason has now become the top of the leaderboard, has now reached the top of the leaderboard, tying with Ave, who's Pink Star, who's to the right, to the east of us, and QWERTY 1000 is now third place. We've had some diplomatic movement happening. Today I sent a whole bunch of messages out to other players, just trying to get their stance on things. So I'll quickly go around the board. Graymason is trying to get me to turn on my allies here. So, well, not turn, but at least work with them and welcome them into the area with open arms. And at this stage, I'm not willing to do so. So if we have a look at Graymason's messages, they basically say that they want me to accept them into the area, to have them there, have peace, and to stop throwing my allies in to die against Graymason's alliance, which I think is a fair request of them to make, but I also think that's not something that I really need to listen to right now. Haven't had much communication with the other players of the Northwest area, so Graymason has been my main communication there. The two orange players to the west, so we've got Orange Bob here, and we've also got Jindir. They seem to be somewhat allied between the two of them, at least not attacking, and our alliance thinks that there will be a good buffer against the Northwestern Alliance, basically stopping the Northwest from expanding down the western side of the map all that freely. So we hope that they stay there as much as possible. Meanwhile, my battle here with the Voriat is ongoing and quite difficult. I'm about to lose this star, Bright El Nair, to a fleet coming in from a Voriat, but if we zoom in, we can see that I've got an extra 100 ships coming in to retake that star pretty much immediately, and another 52 on the way. So even if I do lose it, I won't have it lost for long. Okay, so we've also got Ungoliant sending in ships. During the day, I saw a fleet of about 120 ships head down that way, so very soon Ungoliant will be getting into the fray and making some moves in that area, helping out. Our ally here, the fleet, hasn't been doing much, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going AFK. I've messaged them, I've sent them hyperspace range so they can jump down this way and take out Voriat stars down here, but they haven't messaged back, nor have they jumped that way. I've also contacted them about maybe jumping this way, but still no response, so I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going AFK. Meanwhile, we've got Afris here, who actually has gone AFK, and that means that it gives an opportunity for Kara Starbuck Thrace to come up here, and my other two neighbours, the Fleet and La Brouette, to move in and grow a bit. We've also got Pink Star here, Ave, who is wanting to expand towards the west. I don't remember if we had that mentioned last day or so, but here's my messages with our pink star, and basically it's a summary of they want to move west towards my direction, but they don't necessarily want to fight me yet, and I don't want them doing so. However, our alliance, my northern alliance, north center alliance, does want Ave on our side, but Ave is part of the northeastern alliance. All these players are allied here, so we possibly have to get Ave to turn against their alliance to join ours. So we're in a very tough position. Our group of 5 players, 4 players, no 5 players because we've got Galaxy up here. We're in the center of the board with the other 2 major alliances on either side of us and both gunning for us. So that puts us in a tough position, and we're very likely to not make it through to the other side. Fortunately, I think Graymason might be willing to let me live if their alliance does come through, and I think that Ave might be willing to let me live if their alliance comes through. So I might just be able to get away with surviving even if my alliance is taken out. So I will play that very carefully. Keep diplomatic channels open with both of those empires and indeed with both of those alliances, but I will support my alliance wherever I can. Meanwhile, we've got the Southern Alliance, the Pink Triangle and Pink Diamond. They're in a really nice position, seeing as we've got the 3 major alliances up north fighting for dominance. That gives the smaller alliances down in the south time to expand and grow. And Pink Triangle and Pink Diamond, Kara Starbuck Thrace and the other one, Scarlet, they're both very friendly with me and willing to work with me. So at this stage it looks like I'm friendly with everyone on the board except for Avoriat. So whoever ends up being the victors, I might just be able to squeeze through and continue living. Finally, we've had Purple Star here, Spymalt, contact me and say they'd be willing to ally with me, and that's a definite yes if we can make it, partly because they're another empire that we don't have to fight, and we can use them to come up through these orange empires and fight against the Northwestern Alliance, which are a very threatening bunch, a group of players that we need to take on and get out of the way as soon as we can with as much as we can. We're at tick 195, so we've completed 8 days of this game and we're starting the 9th day, and we're coming to some really difficult positions and it's not looking so well for me. So just quickly, I'll remind you all of the alliances. So there's a few alliances scattered around the place. In the northwest corner, we've got Jorbgorb, we've got Graymason, we've got Sulfire, and we've got Belter Louder. So they are an alliance of 4, and they claim to also have Avoriat as an alliance member, but rather a secret alliance member, and specifically one we need to treat as an alliance member, or they will hold us accountable for any attacks we make. Between Avoriat and them, though, we have Orange Bob, and we've also got Jindir. So these 2 empires seem to be doing okay, but I'm unsure of what their status is with Sulfire and the Northwestern Alliance. The Central Alliance that I'm part of has been holding them as a blockage between the Northwestern Alliance and the western side, but with these neutral stars around here, I guess that might not be staying the case. They might be coming through that side. So moving on from the northwest corner, we come to the center of the map. So I'll start with me. We've got me, we've got the fleet, we've got La Brouette, and we had Aphris in our 4-man alliance. However, Aphris went AFK, and I was invited into a different alliance, which I accepted, and so I've continued to have the fleet and La Brouette being my friends, but I've moved from being in an alliance with them to me supplying them with technology and me going into an alliance with Ungoliant here, Tinfoil, QWERTY 1000, and also Galaxu. So that's our alliance. It's an alliance of 5 and it's quite strong, apart from the fact that it is between 2 other alliances, each of which are as strong as we are. So you can see that we're fighting the Northwest Alliance on this front here, but we are also fighting the Northeastern Alliance. QWERTY 1000 and Galaxy are specifically fighting the Northeastern Alliance, and that alliance consists of King Arthur, the Harkonnen, the Jewish Star Empire, and finally Ave. So that's an alliance of 4 plus some scattered states being part of it. Launcelin, I think, is also part of that alliance, but is a smaller member and wouldn't be doing as much. So that's the Northeastern Alliance, and as you can see, that pretty much cuts the map in half. The top half of the map is split into 3 mega alliances, while the bottom half of the map doesn't really have any firm alliances. So it does have quite a few 2-man teams, but no large alliances that have made any large play. So we see Darmody, and we also see the Ripper are together. We've got some empires down here who seem to be working together to at least some extent. Keith there has quit the game. So we've got a 2-man alliance in terms of Peon and Forga. We've also got a 2-man alliance here in the middle, Scarlet and Cara Starbuck Thrace. And then we've got further alliances around the sides here. Centaurians has quit, so is now an AI. And Dr. Philbill is not on the team with Blueby. Dr. Philbill seems to be on their own. And Meep Meep and... let's see. Yeah, and all of these empires in the southwestern side are alone and scattered. So we've got Pink Triangle and Pink Diamond are in an alliance. We've got Pink Pill and Red Cross are in an alliance. And we've got Red Pill and Green Star in an alliance. And everyone in this side are on their own. So the southern half of the map is really quite scattered and disorganized, which means it's ripe for the taking for an alliance to become really strong and take over. And my personal thoughts is that it'll be the Pink Alliance here that takes over. But yeah, I mentioned that Ave was part of the Northeastern Alliance and that the Northeastern Alliance is attacking. Well, we directly see the effects of the attack up here. King Arthur and QWERTY 1000 have been going for it for quite a while. King Arthur has also been attacking Galaxu, and we can see that the Harkonnen is about to jump in against QWERTY 1000. But if we come down here, Ave has been heading towards the west. In the last day, they've moved in this way, and they're starting to move into La Brouette. So my technology trading with La Brouette and the fleet has become really important, because that is trying to slow down the expansion of the Northeastern Alliance. Meanwhile, I'm also fighting Avoriat on my western front. I wasn't ever able to manage to get a foothold there because my stars were so far away from that, and all the stars in between my front and my main base were very low resource stars, so I couldn't afford to get ships there or build more infrastructure there. and because I never got a foothold, I was never able to keep the 1 or 2 stars I had in the region. Thankfully, we've got Ungoliant coming down to help fight Avoriat, but they might need to come and help fight Ave very soon, or maybe even head north and fight the Northwestern Alliance up that way. So we're in a very tight position. We are being squeezed out between two larger, well, they're not larger alliances, but two alliances that are each as powerful as us. And while the alliances aren't working together, they are definitely afraid of each other, and they both see the Central Alliance that I'm part of as fresh meat ready to eat. And so our alliance probably won't last the week, but we'll fight till the end, trying to do what we can to stay alive, to make it as hard for our conquerors to conquer. Basically, we want to pork up and be as painful as we can. On that note though, we did have an offer of peace from the Northwest Alliance. I'll quickly scroll through it. We can see that there was plenty of chat in this thread, but the Central Alliance that I'm part of quickly decided that we weren't happy with the demands that were being made by the Northwestern Alliance, and so we decided to, rather than go with them, to keep trying to stick it by ourselves, which may not keep us alive, but it means we'll die free. But with that summary out of the way, and I guess that's the entire situation out of the way, that is what's the situation at the end of day 8. I will bring you back in at the end of day 9, and we will see how the board has changed, if at all. Likely, we will see Ave coming in to La Brouette and probably taking a whole bunch more of those. I might have some ships coming down here to help out, but that depends on what La Brouette wants. And we'll probably see Aphris being taken over by Ave and La Brouette. So that's what I think will happen for next day, rather, because the cycles don't exactly follow the days. But yeah, as I said, I'll give another update tomorrow. Well, yesterday I was talking about how the Northwest Alliance messaged us, the Central Alliance, and said, well, do you want to work with us? We're going to need to do so to counter the Eastern Alliance, and we all said no, pretty much. But now most of our Central Alliance is begrudgingly leaning towards saying yes to the Western Alliance. And yeah, the Western Alliance has reached our only expansion front in that area, so Avoriat is now getting direct technology support from the Northwestern Alliance rather than just moral support, so that makes Avoriat a lot harder to kill. We can also see in this area that Leon V is down to these 2 stars, which I did have but don't anymore. But we removed Leon V from this 6 industry star here, but Avoriat now has it. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. We're slowly taking away Leon V's stars, but we're helping Avoriat get stronger. I want to kind of eliminate Leon V before I get out of this match, partly because that is the area that we were working so hard on, and I don't just want to abandon it, but also because that alliance is doing so much damage to us, I just want to be able to do some damage back, so taking out Leon V would be a small win in my books. It would be easier, but even though the Northwestern Alliance didn't easily convince us Central Alliance, they did convince the fleet. And so the fleet has now turned away from attacking Avoriat, has essentially betrayed my trust. Not attacked me or anything, but betrayed the trust, went against me, worked with my enemy, even though the fleet was working with me against the enemy, and has decided to head east. Now, I'd have been fine if they decided to head east and make peace with Avoriat, but the fact that they did so without telling me, and I was under the impression that we were working together to take on Avoriat, now that is what was that's what I consider a betrayal of my trust, and that's what I really don't like. So, yeah, the fleet is not really in my good books, and if we weren't under the massive threat of Ave here from the eastern side, the fleet would be next on my hit list after Avoriat and Leon V. But unfortunately, that will have to wait and possibly might not ever get done this game. So, yeah, there is that. On the eastern side of my empire, I'm accumulating stars here on Pure Haldus. They are to make a jump into one of these stars, whichever one that La Brouette tells me to jump to, so I can support against Ave, because currently I've got no way of getting there. I'm stuck between I'm stuck between La Brouette and Ave, and not able to get there. So hopefully I'll be able to get into that fight soon and contribute a little to the fight on the east. However, I'm not sending all my ships that way. I'm still continuing to send ships towards the west, partly so that I can make sure Avoriat doesn't take the opportunity to completely eliminate me, but also so that I can try to take out Leon V. So I'm going to send at least double the number of industry that Leon V has, which shouldn't be hard because 1, 2, 3, 4 industry is double what Leon V has. And I'm also sending ships from these 3 stars, and might occasionally send some from my homeworld depending on how things are looking on each side. So yeah, that's the situation. Looking at the greater region of the map, in the top corner we can see that our alliance is slowly making ground. King Arthur hasn't been able to push in against QWERTY 1000, which is good. That means we're holding up in that corner, and we might even be making some progress. Down in the bottom corner, we've got the Ripper and Darmody allied up. They haven't, as far as I'm aware, they haven't yet allied with Ave, and it looks like they still haven't. They're 2 weapons levels behind, which strongly suggests they aren't. We've also got Scarlet and Cara Starbuck Thrace, who are allied. They're still friendly with us center guys, but they're rejecting all offers to get involved either for us or against our opponents or anything. They have suggested that they might head around this way, taking the bottom of the map and coming up behind, which would help, but it would be far too late if it did make any impact, and we might as well just roll over and die before waiting for that to happen, because that will just take forever. And in the southwest corner, we can see that doesn't seem to be any big alliances going on. Maybe we've got, here we go, Bluebee and Dr. Philbill. They seem to be at least working together, not fighting each other. Rowan Rager also seems to be kinda allied with them, and Dr. Philbill is the one researching weapons for the team. And they're starting to control the southwest corner, so they'll start becoming a major power in this game, but that by the time they do, our central alliance will be gone, and it will be northeast versus northwest as the 2 major powers, and each of those alliances will be trying to get everyone else involved on their side to attack the other alliance. That's pretty much the structure of how this map is looking right now. So here's the leaderboard again, so you can quickly have a look. Ave is currently the leader at 44 stars. Scarlet, Pink Diamond in the south, is second at 42 stars. Graymason is third at 41 stars. And QWERTY 1000, who's in our alliance, is 39 stars and in place number 4. So that's the situation, and I will give you another update in about 24 hours. We've now reached tick 242 and nothing's looking good for our Central Alliance. So when Graymason contacted our Central Alliance to see if we could ally up against the Eastern Alliance, the way they talked to us, no, we didn't really appreciate it, and so yeah, we basically said, we don't like the terms you've got. Here are some different terms, and maybe I came back a bit harsh when I said that, but we ended up just not getting along at all and ended up having a straight-on word war between the two alliances. And that basically burnt the bridges there, so the Northwestern Alliance won't be coming to help us. In fact, they're coming to destroy us. And then all our attempts to communicate with the Northeastern Alliance has resulted in nothing, absolutely nothing. They aren't willing to consider dealing with us at all. To them, we're only food. And so that means us 4 or 5 empires in the center, we're dead, and there's nothing really we can do about it. QWERTY, Tinfoil, Ungoliant, and me, we're just going to get eaten up by the Northeast and Northwestern alliances, and nothing we can do about it. It's game over there. And I mentioned how the fleet betrayed me earlier by turning and working with Avoriat. Well, they've continued to work against me. So they said that they would be heading east, and that is why they teamed up with Avoriat. And then they sent me a message out of the blue saying that I must evacuate young Alchiba, which is my home star, and, well, I must evacuate it so that they can attack Ungoliant. And they were giving me plenty of warnings so that we could discuss it, and so I messaged back within a few hours, and I haven't heard back from them, and it's been almost 24 hours since they sent that message. So I don't know. It seems to me that the fleet maybe has some respect for me, but really doesn't care for me at all, and is just another lackey of the Northwestern Alliance, and intends to kill the Central Alliance along with it, and doesn't care at all about the Northeastern Alliance and what it's doing. Because, yeah, so I communicated and told Labrouette that I'd be able to help, and so they evacuated this star for me, even built a warp gate there, so that I could come in and attack Ave, and I got one fleet in, and then I saw this fleet coming up from the fleet, and so I had no choice but to stop sending fleets down to attack Ave. So the fleet sending ships upwards, that's compromising the entire center, including their own territory, and Ave and the Northeastern Alliance won't stop at anything to destroy us all. So by the fleet working against me and the Central Alliance, they doomed themselves as well. And I see that as a terrible misplay, and all this is just making me want to fight and take out the do as much damage to the Northwestern Alliance. Everyone in the Central Alliance, we've basically given up hope of winning this game. No one wants to work with us, and when people did want to work with us, they were too harsh. They were demanding things that basically weren't acceptable to us. In order to work with us, you must kill one of your friends. No, we're not doing that. We're sticking together. And so we've ended up, basically, all of us want to go down swinging. We're going to deal as much damage to everyone we can, and most of us are more resentful at the Northwestern Alliance than the Northeastern Alliance, but we still don't like either of them, and so we're just going to go down swinging, dealing as much damage as we can. And I've reached the stage where I'm willing to build up my stars and send everything I have to the west and take on the west, and leave the rest of my stars for Ave, and almost to the point where I'm willing to send my credits to Ave and build up infrastructure before as they come through, just so they can be as strong as possible when fighting the West. But on that note, that's the situation in this game. Well, in the center at least. We're losing on all fronts. The Northwest Mega Alliance and the Northeast Mega Alliance have both declared war on the Central Mega Alliance, and the Central Alliance have no chance. In addition to that, we've got a Southern Alliance that seems to be expanding and growing nice and large. We've got a number of other alliances that may or may not be doing well, but it doesn't really matter to me because they can't affect me and I can't affect them, and it's practically game over. But I will keep playing, I will keep swinging till the last ship, and I will keep you updated whatever goes on, so I'll let you know what happens tomorrow. It's now tick 251, and it's about 12 hours since I last recorded, actually less than that, closer to 10 or even 9 hours. But as you can see, I just wanted to give a quick update because the fleet has started sending fleets into me. So this is not the way you betray an ally. If you betray an ally, you should do it in such a way that they say, well done. You shouldn't do it in such a way that they say, I'll never trust you again. So yeah, these are the last messages I've had with the fleet. This one was the last one the fleet sent to me, and that was over 24 hours ago. It was actually 27 hours ago. And so basically what I got from the fleet was we were working well together, but the fleet thought that our opponent was too strong, and so they sided with the opponent against me and basically said that they didn't trust me because I was getting technology from someone other than the fleet and giving it to the fleet. So yeah, I don't understand what the fleet was worried about, and I think it was just an excuse to attack me. And we can see here their latest message. I want to open discussion on the matter of Ungoliant. I request a transfer lane to the north and recommend young Alchiba for this. I realize this is a large ask, so I want to allow time for dialogue. I messaged back 4.5 hours later. Why would you want access to the north, and why young Alchiba? You'd have to convince me that Ungoliant is worth killing, especially since they're the ones that have kept us alive so far. And then the fleet doesn't respond. And they've now sent attack fleets in to take me on, and there's nothing they're doing. I don't care about the east anymore. All my forces are heading west. I'm going to go down swinging, killing Avoriat and the fleet. They've just been attacking. They've been unreasonable. The west has been completely unreasonable this game, and yeah, I'm going to do as much damage to the west and give as much benefit as I can to the east, because there's nothing else left for me to do. I can't win, and I've been betrayed by those I started the game with. The fleet was the first one I reached out to for an alliance, and the fleet agreed and even organized a 4-man alliance down here. And they've done nothing but not work with me and betray me. So yeah, everything I have is going to support the East against the West. That's it. We're now at 266, and I continue to be attacked by the fleet, and they continue to make gains in my territory. So something that I don't know if was brought up in yesterday's diary entry is that I took this star and then moved in this way. So yeah, La Brouette abandoned this star, built a warp gate and abandoned this star for me so that I could send in a fleet to Ave. I managed to capture this star here with 238 ships, I think it was, and after taking that star was when the fleet started moving in against me. So I basically gave up on all my movement that way. But Ave didn't give up on moving back this way, went to capture this star off me, and I've mentioned that I intend to give the East the best chance I can against the West. And so just before Ave took this star, I built 11 economy on that star and then abandoned it about 30 seconds before the tick passed. So no one was able to see that I'd abandoned that star, because abandoned stars update immediately rather than on the tick update. So no one would have been able to see that I abandoned the star because I abandoned it 30 seconds before the tick, so no one would be looking, especially not then. And I built 11 economy there, so abandoning the star meant that those economy would not be destroyed. And so I managed to donate 11 economy to Ave. I've been debating whether or not to message Ave about the warp gate here and let them know that I won't be defending it, I won't be destroying it, and they're very welcome to come in. But I think at this stage I just want to do as much damage to the fleet as possible, and giving that up too quickly to Ave will mean I can't do much damage. Now if Ave does come in, if Pink Star does come in, then I won't stop them from doing so. But I also won't invite them in. I'll just make it real easy for them to come in if they try. But that's the situation as it is right now. The fleet is invading my stars, doing some serious damage, not liking what we have here. I've started trying to work towards helping Ave out, and I've been sending everything I can against the fleet, making every battle as painful as I can, and also been sending ships against Devoriat. And pretty much the entire Central Alliance is agreed on this point. We're just going to send everything we can against the Northwest Alliance and pretty much invite in the Northeast Alliance. Not exactly invite in, but make it easy and build up the stars on the eastern side as the Northeast Alliance comes in, just to help them out. Just that little bit extra. And yeah, we're going to die, but we're going to make it against the Western Alliance. We're now at tick 290, and I'm at 6 stars. So you can see on the leaderboard here I am at 6 stars. Not quite the lowest on the leaderboard out of those who are still present. We've still got Tinfoil on 3 stars, 2 of which seem to be nicely protected, and 1 of which seems to be gone soon. We've also got, who else down there? Toko Beltha, who's in the southwest corner of the map. We've also got Zenorith and Kane. So those are both 1-star empires, and Zenorith seems to be allowed to live on 1 star based on where they are in the middle here. And Kane, Red Diamond, I haven't been able to spot them yet. But okay, here in the northwest. northeast, sorry. So I'm unsure if they're allowed to live or if they just... Yeah, okay. It looks like they've been allowed to live, so they'll be sticking around for a while, possibly to the end game if their team wins, if the northeast wins the game, or does well in it at least. So with my 6 stars, I've been taken over pretty much by the fleet and Ave, and also a bit of Avoriat in there. We've got Ungoliant here jumping down to take that star, so that they can come in, deny the stars from Avoriat, and deal some more damage. I'm going to successfully defend this star, not that it matters that much, and I'll be bringing down my entire fleet down to Bakru, so that I can do as much damage as I can to this carrier before retreating back to this star. And this star here and this star will end up being my last 2 stars of the game, and I'll keep them for a certain distance, certain length of time, depending on how long they'll take. I mentioned yesterday that I'd be letting Ave into this warp gate. Well, they took the warp gate and they've since taken over most of the stars in here. I built this warp gate for Ave as they came in as well, and I've retreated from these stars on the tick before they land, on the tick before Ave's fleets land, so that they can capture those stars with no damage. I've also recaptured this star from the fleet, so that's a nice little win for me. Doesn't matter much. I launched at this star, El Barreo, but Ave has also launched there. We'll get there first because going between a warp gate, whereas I'm not, and also has a larger fleet, so that my fleet will end up crashing into that star and not doing much damage. So yeah, this star will be my last star on this side, and it depends on how long Ave decides to keep me alive there. And in fact, I might contact Ave and ask them to leave me 1 star, and it probably won't last at all, but I'll see, and if it does, then I'll take that opportunity, so at least I've got a spectator's view as to what's happening in the center of the galaxy, where I'll definitely be likely to be killed anytime a new empire takes control of the area. And yeah, so these 3 stars on this side will definitely be lost, and I don't really need to worry about keeping them. It's just a matter of how long rather than if I can keep them for the rest of the game. And one last thing, I've only got 1 sides, and I'll have scanning level 6 done in 1 tick, and I just think that's a little funny. I don't have much, but I still do have enough science I can still contribute to the team even on 6 stars and in an extremely losing position. So I quite like that and gave me a little chuckle. Don't know if you'll find it funny at all. And at some point during the day, Leon V quit. So they obviously aren't sticking around till the end game. So I don't know why they quit, if they just didn't want to play anymore, or if they were happy that I'd been wiped out and were ready to go. But I don't know. At least they won't survive till endgame, and that's a plus for me. And yeah, because that was one of my stated goals, to eliminate Leon V. Even if I couldn't survive and take out Avoriat and the fleet, I wanted to eliminate Leon V, and with them quitting, that's effectively that goal complete. Not that I did it at all, but there you go. And that's my little corner of the galaxy done. If we have a look at the center, we can see that Graymason is invading into our Central Alliance space. Not that we can do much against it. We can see that Jorb has been heading into QWERTY a little. Very soon be able to take out the last 2 stars of Tinfoil up there, and Graymason take Tinfoil's star down here. We've got the other stars up in this area that are working towards QWERTY and Orange here, Galaxy. They're currently working on fighting the Northeastern Alliance, although they may soon or may already be redirecting all their forces west to take out the Western Alliance. I'm unsure about that also. But yeah, that's the alliance we've looked at. Northwest is coming down through this area, so about to head through Purple Star, who is Spymort, and then move down into the Yellow Star area and down into Pink Diamond and Triangle territory, who they've actually been doing pretty well. Pink Diamond is top of the leaderboard, so they'll need to choose an alliance to get with soon, because otherwise they'll be the next targets after our Central Alliance are dead. The Northeast Alliance will be coming for them, and so will the Northwest. Unsure if there's anything else to talk about. I'm not really plugged into the alliances going on because I'm pretty much dead, and so is my alliance. But yeah, there you go. There's the situation. Strangely enough, Solara, the AI here, is still alive, and it seems like they haven't been taken out for quite a while. Let's have a look at their star count. Yeah, Avorius hasn't taken on any of them for quite a while, so unsure why that is. Maybe they're buying the AI off, keeping them friendly so they don't have to attack, but I'd have thought it would have been better for them to just move in, take that territory and develop it up, because they've got better stats. So yeah, a little unsure about what's happening down there, and I'll have to ask afterwards what happened with the AI Solara and Avoriate. But yeah, I'll give you another update in 24 hours if I'm still alive. And if I'm not, I'll still give you an update tomorrow, and I'll tell you what will happen then. We are now on tick 314. It is Pi tick, and I am still in, just barely. So we can see down on the leaderboard here, I'm on 2 stars, just hanging on with my life. But that won't last long, because we've got Ave coming through incredibly strong here, and it won't be long before they come into my last 2 stars. We've got Ungoliant coming down to take on Bakru. I've got my ships withdrawing from that star at the last minute so that I can evacuate that star, no losses for Ungoliant, and then I'll be down to 1 star. I predict that I will be out in about 19 hours, so maybe it'll take a bit longer for Ave to attack that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if it will be game over for me by the time I do my next diary entry for this game. So yeah, I had the map zoomed out before. It is unclear which side of the two, whether the eastern side or the western side is stronger. I think the western side seems to be a little bit stronger, because if we have a look at their borders, they come down to about these stars here, if I can select it. Their border reaches down to about this area. Oh, and green has a star all the way in the center there. But yeah, they've got a really nice line when it comes to expansion, whereas the eastern side haven't made much progress at all up the top, and have only made progress into the center, in the center of the map. So it seems to me that they're slightly behind on expansion, and so if the eastern side want to win, it's all about how many people can they get on their side to counter against the Western Alliance. So if we have a look down here, we've got Darmody has quit, the Ripper is still in, hasn't been taken out yet, seems to be not allied with Forger. Forger, I'm curious, is Forger fighting with Pink Star? Let's see, Pink Diamond. Doesn't seem that way. No, Forger seems to be independent, so I wouldn't be surprised if they are working together, and yeah, we can see in an alliance there. and Peon also in an alliance, so they've got a nice strong alliance on that side of the map. And if we come to this other side, Pink Diamond and Pink Triangle are just sweeping through here. So it won't be long before the Southern Alliance, as I'm now going to call them, the two Pink Empires, Red Pill and Green Star, won't be long before those two empires, that alliance is countering up against the Northeastern Alliance and the Northwestern Alliance. Now, their positioning only makes the Northwestern Alliance stronger, because two of the Southern Alliance only have one way of expansion, and that's into the Northeastern Alliance. They're going to have to negotiate a ceasefire, or that will give the Northwestern Alliance the win for the game. Meanwhile, Pink Triangle and Pink Diamond have unhindered expansion into Yellow Cross, Yellow Star, Green Hexagon, and Green Triangle. And it won't be long before those four empires are swallowed up, because we've got the Northwestern Alliance coming down, Green Square and Blue Diamond, coming down through Spymort, and then Dr. Philbill and Ruin Rager. Meanwhile, we've got Kara Starbuck Thrace and Scarlet coming up through Bluebee and Dr. Philbill. And yeah, it'll be contact between those two empires very soon, and be very interesting to see who comes out on top on that side, because that will limit the expansion of both alliances. If we have a look at the leaderboard, I had it up before, but we can see top place is Southern Alliance, then Northeast Alliance, followed by 2, 3 in the Northwest Alliance, and then we're back to the Southern Alliance. So while the Northwest Alliance don't have any in the top 2, and their top player is a fair ways behind the current leaders, they are still quite in a good position with 3 out of the top 5 in the Northwestern Alliance.
I'm not dead yet, and I did say that I wouldn't make another recording until after I was eliminated from the game, but I think it's worth noting that there has actually been some development that might be interesting. We've got QWERTY 1000 and Ungaligned have now made peace, or seem to have made peace, with Graymason and Jorgorb. So I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been privy to their conversations, and I doubt they'd want me to be. Or, yeah, they probably just didn't include me in the new chats they made. But they've united against the Eastern Alliance, and we can also see here that Pink Star has also been moving against the West. We've got Avoriates moving against the East, Sulfire's moving against the East. So it's going into all-out battle against the East. Meanwhile, we've still got Beltaloda and Sulfire expanding down this way in order to meet up with Kara Starbuck Thrace and Scarlet. Now, I think the biggest thing that we would want to look at is this message from Kara Starbuck Thrace. So that's Purple Triangle down here. And they're basically saying, Pink Stars won the game, concede to them. Now, it's probably tongue-in-cheek, but either way, it's given us a for sure indication that the Pink Alliance is working with Pink Star, and we definitely need, the other empires, because I'm now no longer part of the we. The other empires need to put all forces towards the Eastern Alliance and can't afford to bicker about amongst themselves anymore. We still do see gobbling up of smaller empires. Ruin Rager is probably, my guess, not something I know, will possibly at least be spared for the time being, because fighting Kara Starbuck Thrace, possibly Ruin Rager will end up giving their territory to Beltaloda as they come through, but that's something I'm unsure about. It will be one or the other. Well, we've now come to the part of the game where I've finally been eliminated. So it's currently tick 348, and if we have a look at the events, I was eliminated 3 ticks ago at tick number 345. So I was taken out by a Voriat, as you can see here, and yeah, that was the end of the game for me, and there's nothing else I can do for this game. So this is what the leaderboard looks like at the pretty much at the time of elimination. Scarlet, Pink Diamond is in the lead, significant amount, followed by Ave, Pink Star, Sulfire. So if we have a look, we've got the South/Northeast Alliance, Northeast Alliance, Northwest Alliance, Southern Alliance, and then Northeast Alliance, Southeast Alliance. I guess they'd be part of the larger alliance there also, and then Northeast Alliance. So it seems to be fairly even between the two teams, the Northeast/South team versus the Northeastern team, and I guess we'll just see which team manages to pull out the win. So we've finally reached the end of the game, and Graymason takes the win. So if we have a look, the Northwest Alliance has completely dominated the entire map, and out of my original allies, the fleet has survived, and in fact the fleet is the only one of my allies all game that survived to the end of the game, so well done them. That's a lot of carriers, especially from a Voriat. If we zoom out, we can see most of the map has been warp gated, which isn't unexpected at this stage in the game. But yeah, if we zoom in, that's a lot of carriers from a Voriat. That's 3 carriers per star. Well, it's one way to get the ships to the front quickly. Here we've got the fleet, got some nice expansion, ended up keeping a few of my original stars. So, well done to them, I guess. And yeah, congratulations to Graymason for winning the game.